Now, you won't believe it, some of that defund the police rubbish has come to Australia as well. I'll share that with you in just a moment. Let's cross to Liberal Senator for Victoria, Sarah Henderson, who joins us from Canberra. Good to speak to you again, Sarah. What do you know about these cyber attacks, and how much should we be putting China in the frame?
Well, the Prime Minister today said, Chris, and good evening, made very clear that Australian security and safety is of paramount importance, including, of course, our sovereignty. And we are very concerned about this. And we are urging all companies to upgrade their security systems. We are seeing a very large-scale attack, and it is very, very concerning.
When we talk about an attack like this, what are they trying to do? Disable communications here, steal information, throw a spanner in the works, take away our secrets? What's the aim? What's the detail of the so-called attacks?
Well, obviously this causes enormous disruption to not just the Australian government, but also to companies throughout Australia when you have these sorts of attacks. Now, I've just seen a report a very short time ago, Chris. Lion Nathan, and The Age is reporting this, that Lion Nathan has been subjected to a cyber attack, and there is some suggestion that they are being asked to pay some sort of ransom. I've only just seen this report. I haven't verified it. But obviously this is very concerning, and we have a website specially dedicated to Australia's cyber efforts. We have a $260 million investment in shoring up Australia's cyber protections, but cyber.gov.au is the website to go to get all the latest information on what companies can do.
Now, you've been very strong in your stance about issues relating to China. Would you see China as the most likely culprit here?
Look, there is no evidence that any particular country is involved, other than we know that it is a very sophisticated attack and it is a state actor. So, I mean, what's important for us, obviously, Chris, is that we take all the appropriate mitigation strategies to make sure that our security systems are safe and that Australian companies are safe. And that's of critical importance, particularly as we know that almost everything is run through the internet, whether it's our power grid, whether it's our hospital systems. Of course, nothing really isn't connected to the internet in some way. So this is of very, very serious concern.
This is why we don't want Huawei in our 5G network or in the NBN and the like. Tell us about, apart from our defences, very technical area, I know, but apart from the defences we have against this, private sector and governments should all have the best defences they can against cyber attack. What's our aggressive response? Do we respond back to those attacking us with our own cyber attacks in Australia?
Chris, I would have to say that would be most improper. That's not the way Australia does business. We are obviously very concerned about this cyber attack. Our focus is on making sure that our systems are properly protected and that all Australian companies have the best possible protection. So that's very much our focus today.
Yeah, interesting. Now, I want to ask you about something else that unfolded in the Senate, in your chamber yesterday. I think it might have been the day before. Paul Murray brought this to my attention. He played it on his program last night. This is the Greens Senator Nick McKim bringing to Australia something of this defund the police nonsense. Let's have a look at Nick McKim.
A call for increased funding into social supports. Things like housing, things like education, things like childcare, things that are genuine public goods. I urge you to read the comments of Deputy Commissioner of Tasmania Police, Mr Scott Tilliard, reported in the Examiner earlier this week, where he said it is absolutely worth considering defunding the police as long as those funds are reinvested into things, areas of public services.
Nick McKim there. Sarah Henderson, defunding the police, giving legitimacy to that idea in the Senate. Is that responsible politics from the Greens?
Absolutely not, Chris. And I was very proud to co-sponsor the motion led by Matt Canavan, of course, signalling our great support for federal and state police forces and absolutely rejecting the notion of defunding the police. I was very surprised by Nick McKim's response because it's irresponsible. Our police do an incredible job. They are always under massive pressure, and this sort of push that we have inexplicably adopted in Australia to defund the police is just absolutely nonsense. And it's another bit of madness from the Greens, quite frankly.
Well, he was quoting a Deputy Commissioner in Tasmania, but he's really talking about people who are looking at other issues that could be funded, other social good that could be done with government funding, whether it's in housing or welfare support and the like, to try and minimise crime. The idea that on top of that in this country you would defund the police is anarchy.
Look, it is. It's absolutely ridiculous. And I think the Greens are pushing for this, and we reject it absolutely.
But what worries me about this is the idiocy it brings into the debate, but also the divisiveness. They're trying to bring into Australia as much divisiveness as they can.
Chris, look, obviously we've seen some terrible scenes in the United States, and I think it's really regrettable that many of these issues have been picked up in Australia, and people have almost used this as a way of going feral, quite frankly. This campaign to defund the police has no merit whatsoever, along with many of the other issues that have arisen. So at this time, when we are still in the middle of the coronavirus pandemic, we've seen these protests, we've seen these crazy campaigns, and frankly, our government is focused on what matters, and that's jobs, that's the lives and livelihood of Australians, and that's very much the focus of the Prime Minister and the Morrison Liberal National Government.
Senator, thanks for joining us. Have a good weekend.